Yeah, this was great. Let's do more of it again, please. Do some catch up here, and I will guess I'll just be echoing what everyone else has said. The Muppet Show, one-off, hopefully not just a one-off revival. It's great. It's basically perfect. It's just doing the Muppet Show again. Yeah. People have basically been asking for Disney to do exactly this, just make more of the Muppet Show. How hard is that? And I feel like that's a little unfair to what I think have been some pretty successful creatively, if not necessarily always successful in terms of audience, revivals for the Muppets over the years. As someone who does enjoy himself some nostalgia content, I make no apologies for that. Something that I think is underappreciated about the Muppets is, as a brand that hasn't ever really, fully gone away over the years, even with the, much too soon, obviously, passing of Jim Henson, the attempts to keep them around have always reflected a certain amount of trying to keep up with the times. Jim Henson was always pushing the bounds of what could be done with them creatively. His Jim Henson Presents material reflected that. I don't know that Muppets Tonight was always the strongest show, but it was definitely an attempt to get them into a modern context in the 90s. I liked the Jason Segel movie. I wasn't as big a fan of the Fall Muppets Most Wanted. I thought it was, fine. It was a decent sequel. The original Muppet movies, both the Muppet movies where they played themselves and the Muppet Treasure Island, Muppet Christmas Carol, obviously, a classic. Muppets from Space is fine. I think I'm in agreement with almost everyone that the Wizard of Oz movie is kind of bad. But I even thought that, the primetime network show that sort of tried to do, the Muppets do The Office was not that bad. It sort of figured out what it had to be as it went. And I'll concede that making the entire show be about the fact that the Muppets did not belong doing that kind of show was maybe a little too meta for its own good. But I feel like a lot of people missed that that was the joke of that show, and it kind of took them a little while, probably took the makers of the show a little while to properly get that joke across. But by the time they got to the episode with Dave Grohl, and certainly by the time they got to the end of their season, I think that show had found its identity, and if it had continued, really would have been something people appreciated. Either way, this is magic. This is, for all of the times that I have kind of bemoaned the tendency of people to say, just do the old stuff again, this is a good version of that. And I think what is getting missed, what I expect will probably be missed in a lot of the automatic praise that this gets for being the old Muppet Show, is it's a return to the classic Muppet Show in format, but it's not necessarily just a nostalgia act, because they very much preserved the format of the Muppet Show. It's a bunch of puppets and one human guest putting on a chaotic old-time vaudeville-style theater show. What they aren't doing is leaning on even a hair more just play the hits Muppet nostalgia than they have to. It would have been, since they've managed to nail the tone and the vibe and even the voice, if not direct vocal impressions. Yes, the new guy doing Kermit probably is going to take a little getting used to for a lot of people. Eventually, I forgot it. The performance and the puppeteering is good enough that eventually I just accepted, yep, this is Kermit. He sounds a little different. You know what? It's been like 40 years. Some of them are going to sound different. Fine. But it would have been so easy, having nailed the tone so much, for them to just play the hits and just do, okay, we're going to do a Piggy song, a Fozzie comedy routine, Pigs in Space, Muppet Hospital, Muppet Labs, The News, just do every classic sketch. And they don't really do that, because the Muppet Show wasn't always the same classic gags over and over again, because you'd run them into the ground. It's like if every SNL was The News, Wayne's World, It's Pat, all of the stuff. Probably not It's Pat, but you get the idea. So here, really, apart from, the opening monologue from Kermit, a big ending number, Statler and Waldorf are there, the backstage gags are still the backstage gags. Unless I'm misremembering, since I'm kind of freestyling this review here, I think the only, quote-unquote classic gag they do, other than a different-ish spin on what used to be the ballroom dance bit, the only classic sketch they drag out is Muppet Labs. And that is a remarkable amount of restraint and it's actually part of like the running meta plot of this. Since every Muppet Show episode has kind of a backstage story going on. In the backstage story for this one, they're kicking up the show again after a certain amount of absence. Whether or not this is in continuity with the previous movies or not, who knows? The Muppet stuff always has kind of a loose continuity between what parts are in the Muppet Show continuity and what parts are the movie continuities. Whatever, who cares? Puppets. The meta plot here is that they've actually overbooked the show and they don't know how they're going to fit all of the acts in, which eventually pays off in a big final number that I will not spoil. Seriously, don't spoil it for people. It's that good. A special human guest is Sabrina Carpenter, who is probably just the perfect person that you want for this because she's a very of-the-moment star and also has kind of like a very Muppet personality and just fits perfectly. But I really do, I can't stress enough, I appreciate how much something that can't help at this point but be a nostalgia item doesn't lean into its own nostalgia other than to deliberately hold it back. Almost as a way, again, in keeping with what they eventually do for their finish, to say, hey, please let us keep doing more of this so that we can show you all of the stuff that you do remember. Like, you see the characters moving around in the background like, hey, yes, we do remember Pigs in Space. We remember Muppet Hospital. We remember the ballroom. Fozzie is here, etc. We remember Fozzie's routine. Statler and Waldorf are here waiting to give him the business, that sort of thing. Please let us bring this back so we can do all of that, but we're not going to come out and fire off everyone and just do a greatest hits show because this isn't an over-the-hill rock act going around and only playing their number ones. This is still a new, fresh, vital thing, since the angle of the Muppets when they were new was that these were weird puppets performing in a contemporary context. One of the reasons, paradoxically, that the Muppets feel like a perpetual nostalgia act from the 70s is that they were brand new in the 70s, and their quasi-hippie, quasi-punk rock, scruffy jazz/rock band aesthetic that sort of makes them them was a brand new look at the time. Like, the Muppets looked like a fresh thing when they were sewn. So yeah, I loved this. It's great. Watch it, even if you are only vaguely interested in Muppet stuff. I'm asking you to do that, just so I can see more of it. I'll be selfish like that. But it's funny as heck. The songs are good. The perpetual reaction of watching the Muppets perform contemporary music and go, oh, that's the lyrics to that. 10 out of 10, no notes. It's great.